Foundation step 6, changing the narratives in my mind and body. Very crucial to healing. I realized that the way I told my story and processed it was a big part in how I worked through it and healed. And so the power in talk therapy is powerful, especially with the trained professional like my psychologist I had and my mentors. So talking is a way of release. And in this Foundation Step 6, we've been talking about mindful communication, stopping to speak. And this is a perfect example at this point in Foundation Step 6 lesson on how, at first, healing from my trauma, when I spoke my story, it was very reactive, very hypervigilant, very a lot of energy coming out, a release, but it was this trauma release. You know, we want to talk about the things that challenge us. It's a form of release. At the same time, there has to be this other side that we talk about the stress, the horrifics, and then we can shift because now we have tapped into our strengths. And we ask ourselves, as we stop in moments, that what was it about me that got me through that most challenging moment? What were my strengths? And we're also strong and resilient. And we speak about this and we tell this narrative. So we speak the traumatic and the stressful, releasing old narratives, and then we stop to change and bring in new narratives of strength and resilience. And so this is where our practice pays off too, is so my background is in cognitive behavioral therapy, where we're aware of our negative thinking and then we reframe and bring in realistic thoughts and beliefs. And so this is where we combine that thought reframing with sensing into our body, with all this work we've been doing through the body scan, breathing into the body, anchoring the breath into the body, becoming self-aware through movement. And so now we're aware of this felt sense and the power of this felt sense. And so as we talk about the stress and the traumatic or our health, you know, we sense into the body and we sit with the energy and how we feel and the emotions. And then we can stop a little bit and step back, reframe, breathe again, sense the body, and speak about these new narratives about how strong and resilient we are and how we can get through things in life and what about us gets us through that life. On top of about living life and enjoying life the best we can. So this is one where, as a practitioner, when I sat across from people and did some mindful communication with them, and you know, I've listened to a lot in my 20 years of mental health. I've taken on a lot, but I would do my best to connect with them and throw out the question, what got you through that? What do you feel got you through those moments? And this is the shift. And so when we speak, we feel, we stop, we feel, and then we speak with new narratives that bring in new energy. And this is how one of the, actually, not how, but one of the biggest things that got me through this transition and got me through healing and recovering was to, as horrific as this thing, tragic event I was in, there was also a lot of heroics, not just by myself, but other people involved. and how grateful I was to have support in those people in my life. And so we speak this. And this brings out this new energy. So research says, and it's just backs it on how important it is for us to talk about things and not isolate and hold things in. And I hope that from the 2 previous lessons on co-regulating and community connecting and resources, maybe we do have some people in our lives or groups or whatever it is where we feel safe to co-regulate, to speak, to connect, to listen, and then remember to release our stress through speaking and processing and bringing in new energy, new thoughts, based on our strength, our resilience, on what got us through moments. So that's the biggest takeaway I've had, really, up to Foundation Step 6, is combining all my practices and being able to speak my story, and as I'm speaking, sensing how I feel. And being able to, after I finish speaking, sit with this felt sense energy and be with how it feels. And that's how I started healing, continued healing, the thoughts in my mind and the energy in my body. So, it's somatic body work. And I just call it cognitive therapy for the body. I'm sensing when I'm talking about the bad, how it feels in the body, where the tension is, where the stress is, where the pain is. And then when I talk about the strengths and getting through things, I sense into the body where that feels good. And it's kind of like this, back and forth, and eventually the new energy comes in the more we speak and feel from our strengths. Appreciate you. Remember, you're strong, resilient, at plenty of things, and you have plenty of things to plenty of things in life to just step back and talk about and release and trust and allow yourself to feel vulnerable. And it's not easy, but I believe in you. So remember, I speak, then I feel, then I stop, then I feel, then I speak, and then I just sense it. It can feel good. Right on. I feel good. I hope you do too. See you next lesson.